Oh, I have to let you know that you're being recorded. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you. Um,
This is a little sparkle. Welcome, everyone. We all are teachers, we know it's hard to educate our kids and make them face real problems, to put together our strength and give them all our knowledge. My fellow friends, let's talk about it. We are here to talk and make it better. Kids and mental health all matter. Little Sparkle, the podcast for educators.
all right. Welcome back to Leave a Little Sparkle. I'm your host, Julie Walker. And of course, today I'm super excited. And I know I say that every week, but the weeks that I have my best friend on, I really and truly am super excited. So, hi, bestie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I just saw you like 4 hours ago.
Right. And this is the first time we've actually done Teams chat.
I know. It's been really beneficial when I have worked with people like out of state or in different counties. Teams has really been they've been a champ for me. So I got to say I like it. And Zoom, did you know that Zoom, if you are free on Zoom, you only get 30 minutes? That's crazy.
We used to get unlimited. And then I signed on. I was like, since when did they go down to 30? Because it used to be, I guess during COVID and stuff, it used to be unlimited, but now they
Oh,
took
I'm
that.
sure. Yeah. So part of me, it's late. Ooh, excuse me. But we had to jump on today
Of
because
course.
our brains were just magical today. I don't know if it was the mixture of the mac and cheese and Chick-fil-A drinks or if it was just that we just hadn't seen each other in a while. But today we had a brainchild and it was beautiful.
Yes, we did.
So I'm going to let you kind of take the reins. Let's start with what the big problem is currently in your life. What's coming up in August?
My baby starts daycare, and
Oh,
daycare is so hard to come by now. It's
oh yeah.
waiting list and it's just
Yes.
crazy. But yes, my baby is starting daycare.
Yeah. And the sad part about that is one, half your paycheck's going to be spent on childcare,
Right.
which in the grand scheme of things, like you still get some of your paycheck, but still like that's a huge chunk. And then two, that means your baby's growing up.
I know. I know.
So something I noticed because Xander's been to two different daycares, and something I noticed is the just huge inconsistencies between daycares and pre-Ks, I guess daycares and pre-Ks. Because like the school you signed your son up for starts at 7 and you have to pick up by 5:30. I've had Xander in a school that started at 6 and ends at 6, and I've had him at a school that started at 7 and ends at 6. And there's just a huge range, and it's hard to find the one that is right for us as teachers. Because I'm not saying I want to be up at the school until 6 every day, but I'm also yeah, there's times like orientation or um,
Open
oh gosh,
house.
open house. What else happens? There's so many like kindergarten roundup was one this year
Right.
that you end up being there after hours
Right.
and finding more childcare for your child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not beneficial in any way, shape, or form for the parent, for the child care provider. I don't really know where this is helping anybody, right?
Right. Right. I
So
totally agree.
So we're sitting there today. We're talking about your baby starting school. Well, daycare, which as teachers, we see it as school, right?
Right.
They're putting your little baby in a uniform.
They are. They are. They're making him. And I even said, I was like, you do know, I know he's going to be a year and a half, but he's still wearing 6 to 9 month clothes. He's
He's,
tiny.
yeah, he is. He's tiny.
And he's a year and a half, and you're going to make him go in a uniform?
It's crazy.
It really is. I'm like, okay, you see pre-K, pre-K doesn't wear a uniform, but
Right.
it's like, and daycares don't wear uniforms. I've never
Yeah.
heard of a daycare where you have to wear a uniform, but they're making him.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's a Montessori, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so that's part of the the discrepancies that I see between the different child cares. Like my school never said anything about a uniform. There were days where they dressed up and things like that, but there was never like he has to wear this and he has to wear that. Other than the closed-toed shoe policy, which I think is just universal child care, closed-toed shoes. We don't want them losing a toe, right?
Right, right.
Uh, yeah, but yeah, that's another thing. So we're talking about all these things. And our brainchild that happened was, do you wanna go ahead and tell everybody?
So we were discussing that the school board should offer daycare services for their employees.
And when we say for the employees, we mean only for the employees. If you're a custodian, if you're a para, if you're a teacher, if you're admin, if you're a
Bus driver.
librarian, bus driver, yeah, you should have first dibs at any of those spots, but they should only be for staff.
Right.
Um, and we talked about, so my son's going into kindergarten this year. I'll get to kindergarten this year. But if this had been around for me, it would have made a huge difference in just how long I took off and how quickly I came back to work. And we've even discussed, I want to have another child. I have a desire to have one more. And whether it happens or not because of my PCOS, like, I don't think I could afford to work and put a baby in baby daycare. I got extremely lucky that my husband stayed home with Xander until he was 2. He worked nights and weekends, so we just had opposite shifts. Um, and you've kind of been lucky too in your
Yeah.
situation.
Mhm.
So just family-wise, it's worked out. But at the same time, if I, with everybody working now and stuff, if I were to bring a second child into the home, I would pretty much have to quit my job.
Right. And it's sad. It's sad that it has to come to that because,
Mhm.
I know so many teachers who have quit because they don't have daycare
Yeah.
for their kids. They can't find daycare or it's super expensive and they can't do it. So we lose good teachers that way.
Mhm. Yeah, because good teachers with the energy to keep up with these kids right now are teachers having families right now, starting
Right.
families. They're usually mid-20s to end of their 30s, having
Mhm.
babies, um, starting their family, whether it's 1, 2, 3, however many children they have. That's the age range we're all mainly in, right?
Right.
And okay, so let's talk about some of the perks we do have with the school board. We have a free healthcare clinic.
Mhm.
We have insurance so that if we wanted to go out of the healthcare clinic, we could. Um, Obviously, we have the holidays off. We get holiday pay for certain holidays. They do hold back so that we can kind of enjoy the summertime off, even though we know we've worked for it, right?
Right.
But all those things don't really make up for the fact that we're paying hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to send our kids to childcare during the day. And childcare that we don't really know what are they learning, who's with them. We're having to stress about what time they get to that school and what time we have to pick them up. I mean, that was my biggest struggle this past year is I'm an early bird and I couldn't drop my son off until 7 and I was barely making it to work on time. I'm sure I'm not the only parent that feels that way.
Right. Because I'm gonna be in the same situation next year. Or this coming year, daycare opens at 7, and I'm just gonna have to haul back to work right after. And it's like,
Yeah. And with our school, if you're even like 10 minutes late, you're going to be 20 minutes late because there's one
mhm,
way in and one way out. And the amount of parents dropping their kids off, you are stuck in that line.
right. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that we're not the only school like that.
Exactly.
So, our biggest brainchild here then is to add to those benefits for teachers by creating childcare just for teachers and staff of schools And what we decided was, because we came up with all sorts of ideas with this, because first of all, we don't half butt anything here, okay? And and second of all, like, we don't want to just say, hey, you should add childcare and leave it to it. We actually want to open it up and have ideas and things that has been thought through so that it's easy for people to jump on board with it.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you take it away. So what are some of our brain children?
We had talked about, like, I know we have, like, we talked about the clinic, and of course that's all free for us, and that's amazing. I mean, even if we did do the daycare, I'm not saying free. Yes, would that be amazing? Absolutely.
Yes.
But I'm not saying that. Even if you charge the employees, I mean, even if you give some sort of discount, just that incentive of just having a place for your baby to go. And, we talked
Because
about,
there is thousands of dollars in grant money. And we know the school board knows how to get that money.
right. Right.
So,
We have plenty of funding that we get through our pre-K services and
mhm.
things like that. And I know we also discussed about putting students first. And I think, yeah, you had mentioned about having highly qualified teachers that work
Yep.
for the county teaching our students first.
Yeah.
They can
First,
teach them.
before they're touched by anybody else that's gonna give them the
Right.
misinformation.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
teach them what they need to know, so that way when they do go on to pre-K, they're well prepared, and then when
Yeah.
they're brought up to me in kindergarten, they know they're well prepared, and they know, their letters or letter
Mhm.
sounds, things like that. So
Yeah. But yeah, because I mean, as teachers, teacher moms, mom teachers, whatever, um, we already try to teach our kids throughout the day, right? Like I know you read books with your son. I'm trying to do alphabet letters and sounds with Xander. Like we're already doing those things. We expect and want our children to have a good education. So we're already going to support those teachers. And we know that, yes, there's some things that are developmentally appropriate and some that are not. But we know and we trust that teachers know what the right thing is. And that the earlier we reach these kids with the alphabet, with letters, shapes, sounds, numbers, the better off they're going to be in kindergarten. They're going to be ready and prepared to learn to read.
right, and you're not going to have so many learning gaps, and things like that. So
And right now, I mean, I know you and I've talked about it. You've had kindergartners come in that cannot even write their name. Uh, what would you say is probably the most shocking? You don't have to give names or anything, but the most shocking situation you've ever had of a kindergartner coming in, of what they know and don't know.
not knowing letters and letter sounds.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you should, coming in again kindergarten, you should know letters and letter sounds.
Yeah.
Um, and when a kid comes to you only knowing 3 or 4 letters and letter sounds, that's there's a problem. And some of them, unfortunately, like, it'll shock you, but some of them have been in daycare, and it's
Mhm.
like, what is the
And
daycare?
parents think like I'm paying these people. They say they have this curriculum. I know that was one of my first questions I asked when I moved him to his daycare was, "What's the curriculum?" And I know they showed me a book of, I guess they were using Funny Daffer at the time. And I know a lot of people who swear by that curriculum. It didn't work for my child.
Right.
Um, he's the one I'm scared going into kindergarten, not knowing his letters.
Hmm.
Um, and I know that the school board did a kindergarten camp this summer to help those kids get ready, but it was only 4 weeks long, 4 days a week, 4 weeks long. They were there for 4 hours a day, 5 hours, 8 to 1. So it wasn't long. And I don't think that short amount of time is going to actually make a huge difference.
Right. Right.
So another idea we had talked about and tossed around was like not having these at every single school, but instead having between 5 and 6 different major headquarter It's not headquarter. What's the word I'm looking for?
Facilities?
I guess like major facilities in
Yeah,
each of the major cities. So like Lakeland, we said Mulberry because they can get some of those South Lakelanders. Bartow, Bartow can take care of Fort Meade and Bartow, and possibly even Alturas kids because there's not a lot of kids out there. Well, there's not a lot of there's one school, so
right.
um, Winter Haven. Um, ooh, Frostproof is a part of Polk County, right? Like I might need my map, but maybe
I think so.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
And then maybe one out in Lake Alfred slash, oh, Davenport's a good one too.
Davenport. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's a big one. So,
right,
so we're not saying go through and change every single school. We're saying start a facility in the major cities of our city, that, you could make an entire daycare out of
right. And
for
I
just,
know the biggest thing probably would be, well, what do we do during the summers? Well, you could have summer
mhm.
camp. Um, you know,
That's where you could host the kindergarten camp.
right. And I'm
Mhm.
sure there's employees that would keep their child because maybe they want to work summer school and this would give
Yeah.
them an option because like myself, I didn't have anybody to watch Cooper.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to do summer school,
Mhm.
I can. And unfortunately, there's a teacher who can't, myself who can't do it because of childcare. If you had
Right.
care, you know,
Or even, I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of professional developments that have come up this year that I wanted to attend that I
right,
can't because I'm stuck home watching my child. Um, or here's another crazy thought. Teachers are working second jobs to make ends meet. I
right.
can name a few teachers off the top of my head that have second to third jobs to make ends meet. Um, why not, let their kids be in during the summer? And you even mentioned, and I thought this was genius, instead of it being daycare during the summer, it being like a summer camp program.
Right. Hmm.
And I just know that there would be a lot of parents that would be like, sign us up. This is awesome. And I know for myself, if I had had a safe, reliable, clean, nice place that I could send my child the 6 weeks after I had him, I probably would have come back to work a lot sooner than I did.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. If they had somewhere to send their child, they would have come back
Yeah.
sooner or not have had to quit the job because, they
Mhm.
needed daycare.
Yeah. Well, and it's so true. So Christine and I, we do our research, right? We're those people. So I have my phone, and we were looking over some. We were trying to find if any other districts had done this, and the question that was posed on this article. This was from 2018. Can in-house childcare keep young teachers in the classroom? These districts want to find out. When Sheridan Brohl and her husband moved to Durango from Kansas a couple years ago, finding care for their 1-year-old daughter was unimaginably hard. Would you agree that's what it is right now? Yeah.
Hmm.
I think I Googled and called about 20 different places and left messages and got no calls back, said Vroll, who was starting a job as an English teacher in Durango High School. Although a neighbor eventually helped her find a spot at a local childcare center, Vroll's initial dead end search illustrates just how tough it can be for working parents to line up dependable childcare, especially for infants and toddlers. Such predicaments can have wide ranging consequences for schools, forcing young teachers to look for jobs elsewhere or quit altogether, and leaving students with a revolving door of instructors. So, Colorado has tried this. So, both the 5,000 student Durango district in southwestern Colorado and the 31,000 student Boulder Valley district in the state um, will open childcare programs for infants and toddlers in the next 2 weeks, both to be housed in the district high schools, which I thought was really interesting because I know when I was at Auburndale High School, there was a classroom there that was like the early childhood development class, and it was also a daycare. I don't know the situation, like who was able to get into that class. Like I'm not sure of the specifics there, but distinctly remember there being a daycare there. And then where we went to college, there was a
Hmm.
daycare there.
Right. And I know when I went to Mulberry, it was the same way,
Mhm.
because I was part of the early childhood education program. So, and I remember they had a portable, and like you said, I don't know how the kids got into there, but I
Mhm.
just know like I would go and volunteer to read to them and things like that. So I know there was some type of program,
Right.
but you know,
I don't think at my high school that there were infants. I believe it was like preschool age
yeah,
because it was like the early childhood development, which wouldn't be, it'd be like 3 or 4-year-olds.
yeah,
Um, so trying to get to the good part. The creation of district run childcare for staff often starts with a nagging need, then a brainstorm. And I thought that was really interesting because the reason this started for us was because of this persistent need of childcare. Like, I know you've heard me talk about it for years now, and now you're facing it. Um,
hmm,
and I can only imagine as we get new teachers and they're young moms and I mean, even dads, having to find childcare is the number one problem.
right. It really is. And at least if we had a school board daycare to send them to, and we had an event like open house, and
Mhm.
they're aware, oh yeah, they'll understand, and
Right.
even if you have to pay $20, that's fine, I'll pay my $20 extra,
To
you
know that
know
I don't have to find childcare, I don't have to, like, go through 20 people to ask them if they're off, if they can get them, if they can you imagine?
yeah,
I'm gonna spend that $20 in paying somebody's gas to go get him, paying for his dinner and something for them, and a thank you for them taking care of him. Like, I'm gonna
right,
spend that anyways, you know?
right.
So
And
it
it's
would.
almost sad that you have to jump through all those hoops, like last year with the kindergarten roundup. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I don't even know if I can go. I'm a kindergarten
Right.
teacher. It's, from 5 to 7. I don't have anybody to watch my son. Luckily,
Mhm.
I was able to find somebody, but,
Right.
it'd be so nice not to have to worry about that. And then it's like,
Mhm.
if I didn't, I would have to stay home. And then there
Yeah.
goes one of your kindergarten teachers who couldn't go because they don't have childcare.
Yeah. And it's gonna drastically I don't know how to explain this. It's going to determine what kind of school you can go to. Because if you are at a school that mandates those things because of whatever government funding they have, you're gonna have to go find a school that doesn't because you can't make sure that you're gonna have childcare. And I
Right.
know you and I talked about it at the end of the year. I didn't have a choice but to bring my son to school. It-
Mhm.
it's a problem when that's what's going on. I'm having to choose between work and school. I didn't even use all my hours last year for fear that something would come up that I had to go get Xander from his school.
Right.
Or because at the drop of a hat, these daycares are closing when they need to, enough staff didn't come in or, there's something going on. So the staff is closing down for the day. There's been times I've had to take off just to be with my child.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's why a facility that's run by such a large corporation like the Polk County School Board would be impactful because they would be able to have substitutes, a ready notice, have principals running it, making sure that it's running smoothly and that it wouldn't have to close down for the day. And that, if there's an event coming up, that's covered. Or even just following the school board's schedule for
Right.
the school year. Like when teachers go back, you start your first day of the school year. If they have a day off, everybody gets a day off.
Right.
I think
Exactly.
I think it would make a huge difference.
Me too. And I know we had talked about, could you imagine the beginning teachers, or, not even teachers, just new staff members, as that
Mhm.
being an incentive? They're
Mhm.
like, oh, instead of working at this county, I want to go to Polk County School Board because they offer childcare and I don't
Yep.
have to worry about it. And what was the county in Florida? I know we had looked, one of it, was it
It was
Broward?
Duval County. Oh, no,
Okay.
yeah, you were right. Broward County. Yeah. Mhm.
They offer that for their staff. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
And I know that there are districts around us. We're one of the largest districts in Polk County, but I know there's districts around us that offer to pay more per year.
Hmm.
So this might set us just a little bit above everybody else so that we're not having these huge gaps. And I know not everybody has a childcare problem. I get it. But more often than not, young teachers do have this problem.
Right. Exactly.
And if you don't have the problem that we have of finding childcare during the school year, maybe your kid is a third grader, maybe your kid is in, fourth or fifth, having summer camps run through the school board at these facilities is another perk. And having it, I know it's kind of considering it like segregation because we're separating the staff kids from everybody else. But at the end of the day, like putting us as a priority makes us feel loved and makes us want to work harder and do better, and it takes one less thing out of our brains to worry about. So now we're worrying more on what are we teaching? Is it to the full extent of the standard and the delivery to our children? Because we're not having to worry about our own child.
Exactly. And not having to worry about if he's 43rd on the list. So, especially like these, ones who are pregnant now, like I can't even imagine an infant because you can only have, what did
Mm-mm.
we say, eight? Is it eight in a room? I think if you have two teachers.
6 to 8, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine like eight babies? Like, of
Your
course you're going to
room's
be,
filled up quick.
yeah, of course you're going to be 43rd on the list. So,
Hmm.
and then, could you imagine if I didn't get Cooper into daycare? What was I going to do?
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah. We'd be one less kindergarten teacher,
right,
and that would
it's,
suck.
right,
It's not beneficial to you either. Like I know we've talked about this, but like we're the type of moms that enjoy going to work because we need the break. We love our children dearly. We are so
yeah.
blessed, so happy and thankful that we have them,
Mhm.
but we're good at our job. And
Right,
that little break of being good at something that you're not even having, like, I don't have to worry. I don't have to,
right,
that little break is so important to us. Like, it would break me if I was a stay at home mom. I couldn't do it. I
right,
struggle during the summer, you
right,
know? So, just the sheer fact of, like, you possibly could have had to quit your job just to watch your child. That's not
right.
fair to you, that's not fair to the school, that's not fair to the kids that would learn from you. It's not fair to your
Exactly.
kid either because statistics show that kids that go to daycares are actually academically advanced.
Right. And like I said, could you imagine, just the Polk County School Board employee children, like they're gonna excel,
Yeah.
especially if, you have highly qualified teachers teaching them. You
Yeah.
know, they're gonna know what letters and letter sounds, colors, numbers,
Mhm. And Polk
and so they're
County
not
would be
gonna
known
worry about.
for yeah, Polk County would be known for that instead of, well, maybe not instead of Grady Judd, but maybe alongside of Grady Judd. We'd be known
Right,
for having daycares for our staff.
right, exactly. And it's just, it would be a really good incentive. And I think
Oh, yeah.
it, I think people would be shocked about how well it did.
Mhm. You wanna talk a little bit about the article you found that you sent me?
Oh yeah, I did send you one, didn't I?
You did. I told everybody we prepared.
I know. Okay, let me pull. Hang on. Okay. All right. So this one is childcare benefits to help teacher retention.
Mhm.
Let's see. It says the teaching workforce has changed and many teachers are younger with growing families. This makes the need for childcare an increasing concern and a factor when selecting a job. School districts that offer childcare to teachers may help prevent them from leaving the classroom. Childcare can also be used as a pre-K to attract new teachers with small children, which I knew we do have pre-K facilities.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, some school districts have taken note of the pressure working parents face, the young teachers who graduate and start their careers only to leave when they have become parents. It says approximately 14% of teachers who leave their jobs do so because of pregnancy or family issues.
That's a
Schools,
huge chunk.
it really is. It says schools that have more challenges in lowering teachers are also more likely to have a young workforce that will have childcare issues. To prevent this, some school districts offer childcare perks. Teachers who benefit agree that childcare makes it easier for them to achieve a work-life balance.
Yeah. I think
Mhm.
something they said kind of sparked something for me. Um, Remember when we were in school, we had a lot of time where we got to, well, we were both paras, so we were already getting experience. But then we had a lot of field experience we needed to get. I personally worked down in the school's daycare to start with, and learned a lot about teaching and stuff that way. It gave me some really invaluable experience. And I think if we were to look at this as not just a way for us to help teachers that have children, but also a way to help brand new teachers get their feet wet, get field experience, learn. I mean, you could have student teachers in that setting. You could have them doing their field experiences and things in that setting so that they're learning how to do this stuff. They're learning about the school board and they're getting their feet wet without having to jump into an actual school just yet. I
Exactly.
mean, it could be a really good stepping stone too. Like if you work there at the daycare, you could be part of, isn't it the greenhouse project that does the scholarships?
Yes, which I'm so thankful for because that's a program I went
Yeah, if I had thought about it honestly, and I, I should have done that, but
through.
uh, hindsight's 2020, and I didn't know it about it until like my last semester.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what we're trying to say, Mr. Hyde, is that our brainchild can be yours for free as long as it's something that you guys jump on and do.
And
Would you
as
agree with
long
that?
as Mr. Cooper, my son, gets one of the spots, because this was
Put
our
him on
idea.
the list.
Right.
Well,
Put
the
him on
goal
the
the goal would be for us to be able to see how many and have people sign up and not have to have like spaces where people are waiting like they are with every other daycare.
right.
If that means that they're adding and changing units like every school in Polk County is doing, then I think they should do that.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, and if, let's say Winter Haven one year has less kids enrolled in the 3-year-old class. Okay, well, I'm sure Lakeland doesn't have less kids in the 3-year-old class, so send that person over to there if they want to, just like they do for our schools. It would be
Right.
nothing different.
Exactly.
And
And
if
I know
if
they'll be surprised, just like we had talked about getting signatures and petitioning, and everybody's going to be shocked when, they see how much of a need this really is.
mhm. Oh, yeah. So let me go ahead and tell the audience. So we are very passionate about this. And anytime Christine gets passionate about something, I get passionate about it and we just get fired up. Okay.
Right.
So we are going to, you'll find in the link, in the description, a link to a survey. We want to know what you think of this. Would this help, to keep you, keep some retention for teachers? Is this something that you think would be a fantastic perk? Is this something that you think would be good for student teachers? And then there's also going to be a link to a petition because obviously we're data minded people, right? So, like, the survey is going to help us to be able to prove our point. And the petition is going to help us to show the numbers behind our point because everything's a numbers game, right? So, if you love this idea and it's something that you think that you can get behind and would help you, I want you to find the link down below and go ahead and get started on filling it out and send this video to all of your friends, all your teacher friends, all your staff friends. I know that we are not the only two people that have been in this boat because I've talked to a lot of people that
Mhm.
have been in this boat.
Right. And even if you're not in this boat, just think of maybe one day you will be, or
Mhm.
maybe you have been in that boat. Maybe your kids are now in school, but just think about your situation prior and how that
Yeah.
would affect you and help people of you.
Yeah, and again, we're not asking for charity here. We're
Right.
saying that this, the teachers can pay something. Um, we do like that some of these other districts offer at a reduced rate, and that would be very helpful because, like I said, for me, if I were to have another child, I would have to pick staying home with them because it would be half my paycheck gone. So at that
Right.
point, you know, not really helping much anyways. And then
And
that.
saving, like, just, saving on, like, the 2 weeks of Christmas, because I know if your child doesn't go to daycare, they're closed for that week, you still have to pay.
Oh,
Whether you
yeah.
want to or not, you still have to pay. So could you
Right.
imagine, employees saving that money
Mhm.
because, they're closed for those 2 weeks? That's an extra 2 weeks
Mhm.
worth of, money that I could have to,
Right.
you
And another problem that I've had with, daycare in particular is that they want you to pay weekly. Well, you get paid once a month, right? I get
right,
paid only twice a month. I didn't really have a choice I would have picked the once a month because I like being able to pay all my bills at one time. But anyways, so I get paid twice a month, but I'm having to pay once a week for his schooling. And it just would get to be like a lot to figure out and put money in. So why not just go ahead and do auto draft from our paycheck? You can even
yes,
prorate it if you need to. Like, here's your August check. I'm taking September. And then if you have to do money back or whatever the case may be, then you can do that. But for the most part, I just feel like this would be a lot more beneficial to just auto draft it out of, what you need and make it a monthly amount. Like it costs you, 400 for the month for August,
mhm,
and that comes directly out of your check. And that way, if they do it right, they can figure out how much like their daily cost is, right? And they can split that up into that 10-month time frame. So you pay the same amount every month, but you're not paying for the time that we're off.
right, exactly.
So that would be a huge benefit to us teachers because it's not an ebb and flow of how much we're having to pay, and we're not having to worry about paying every single week. And it's not, it's just strenuous. It's just
Mhm.
strenuous.
Exactly.
And I put mine on auto pay and had to take it out off of auto pay because that was not working with my teacher salary.
Exactly. And again, with the teacher salary, I don't know about you guys, but when I looked for daycare, I had two questions. First one is, do you give a teacher discount?
I feel like you ask that everywhere we go.
Yes. And my second thing is, do you make me pay during my summer months? And
Mm,
every single time, most of them said, yes, we do.
yeah. I mean, honestly, that was a factor for me the last couple summers to keep Xander in school. And I did. I kept him in school. There was a few days throughout the summer that I would take him and he can be at home with me. But if I'm paying for it to keep his spot, that sucker's going.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
But I'm so proud of you for being so smart.
It was my dilemma today when I was just like, "Oh my gosh, 43rd on the list," and it's like,
Hmm.
it would be so much easier if it just had a place to go,
I
a
know
senior place,
it
because
would be.
place he's going now, it's like that was the first open spot, and it's like, am I sending him to a good daycare that's going
Yeah.
to be teaching him and taking good care of him, and
And right now, if you don't jump on the first spot that comes, you don't know how long you're waiting.
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And like I said, if August came and it's like, great, what am I going to do? I don't have anywhere for my son to go. I
Yeah.
can't go back to work.
Hmm.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one feeling like that, because I don't know if you're part of the Facebook, the Polk County Teacher Facebook, but they're constantly asking about daycares and anybody know any daycares that are open, you know.
Yeah. It's a Polk County pandemic right now.
Hmm.
A lot of daycares closed or reduced their numbers during COVID. I know a lot of baby or infant rooms got closed during COVID. And they're still deathly afraid that they're going to get COVID. So a lot of places have not fully opened up, or they're having a hard time finding staff, so they
Mhm.
can't fully open up. And people every single day are moving to Polk County. I cannot drive down the road without seeing a brand new house being built.
Right.
Well, that's a problem. I mean,
Mm.
we're building new schools to accommodate these children, but we're not building more daycares. We're not having more daycares come available. The school board can be the change here. They can be the big change.
Exactly. Exactly. They can. And I hope this
So,
does make some type of change because I think it would be very beneficial.
yeah. And I mean, even if it's, I don't know if principals are allowed to decide on putting a daycare at their school or not, but something to just take that and alleviate some of that pressure would be really beneficial. So, I really hope that they run with it. And I can't wait to put this out there and see what people think. I think it'll be great.
I do too. And I know we talked about the school board clinic. They made that happen. So I think
Oh,
that they
yeah.
can make that happen too.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe they can be trendsetters. Maybe the county will take after them and do something like that too. Publix, where our husbands work, used to have a daycare. Don't know why they closed that down. That would have been very beneficial to both of us.
Right.
Um, but that one got closed down.
Right.
So, 'cause yeah,
Yeah.
both our boys could have went there. Man.
See the dilemma? Like it's
It really
yeah.
is. And as teachers, we expect the best from ourselves.
Right.
And we're not going to half butt anything. Like I said earlier, we're not going to just send our kid anywhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
we the mom and teacher guilt would be too much to just send our kid anywhere.
Right. And can you imagine not having the excuse from employees now, oh, I can't stay because, I don't have childcare. What do
Right.
you do? So
Right. And even if we have to pay $20 extra, like sign me up. I'm not
right,
asking them to raise my kid, but also it would
right.
make things so I mean, most of us teachers are done by 3:30, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even if they closed by 4:30, giving everybody time to get where they, whatever. So they closed by 4:30 most days, but they opened at 6:30 so we could drop them off in time to get to work on time,
Right.
right? That would make a huge difference there too. And then that would give people still a little bit of leeway in the afternoon because I know a lot of daycare workers are burnt out because they're not getting off till 6 o'clock. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, if they get off at 6 o'clock, because I know some of them, like they have strict cleaning policies of their classrooms and stuff. Thank God we don't have that at our school because my room's a hot mess every day, but a lot of daycares do. And so, hopefully they're off by 6 and headed home, but some of them aren't. That takes away your whole day.
It really does.
I can't imagine having to work, like, from the start of the day to the end of the day and, just how tedious that must be, and so this would be a great place for people to work. I feel like you would have people knocking the door down to work there just
Oh
for
yeah.
the sheer benefit alone of health insurance, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so they could pick and choose the cream of the crop teachers to be there.
Exactly. And could you imagine just adding that as another incentive? Because I know all the time they're constantly calling for new teachers and putting the
Oh,
different
yeah.
incentives that we have. Could you imagine putting that as an incentive? And it's like, should I go to, I'm just throwing it out there, Hillsborough County, where you may get paid a little bit more, or Polk County, where I'll be able to have childcare for my child?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with
I
childcare.
mean, yeah, every day I would go with childcare. Just, I mean, yeah, every day.
Right.
It
Exactly.
just it baffles me that we don't already have this in place, especially because this is a female dominated career. There's
Yes.
a lot more men now than when I was a child, but it's a female dominated career, and we don't have things like paid maternity leave, and we don't have childcare for our teachers. That's a problem, and that's why there are retention issues. And I, not to get on my high horse and not to be that person, But the reason you have people leaving is because you're spending time to make Facebook posts about brand new teachers and spotlighting teachers, but you're not taking time to go to the root cause, which is I don't have childcare, I don't have maternity leave, I'm not getting paid enough. Those are the root causes, and maybe you can't change the payment. Okay, fair enough. I think they can, but maybe you can. Maybe there's no money in the budget to change what you pay people. But I'm sure you can get funding to take care of our kids during the day.
Right. Exactly. And
And
Publix offers maternity and paternity leave, because I know, when we got Cooper, Chris went on paternity leave because they offered that and it was paid.
yeah. And unfortunately, yours was not. And now your holdback is messed up for the summer. And I know we've talked about it before, but mine was not either. And I had barely any time left over because all of my appointments had to be before 4 p.m. and I was high risk. And so by the time I got to my maternity leave, I had no time left.
Yeah.
So I get it. We get summers, but you can't use that as the excuse when we're working to make the money for that. Yeah. And I
that's what a lot of
think,
people don't understand. Oh, they get paid. That's our money that we've already made.
yeah, that money is basically sitting in a savings account for us, which don't even get me started on that. I'm not gonna get started on that. But what I am gonna say is quit wasting the time on Facebook. Yes, it feels good sometimes to get a shout out for being a great teacher, but that's also sometimes just a popularity contest, you know?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, do what really needs to be done for your workers, your employees, because like you said, and this was a conversation you and I had personally, but if you treat your employees right, they're going to go above and beyond to get the job done and get it done right.
Exactly. 100%.
And teachers are already perfectionists, so they already have that drive in them, that desire to do the right thing and to, go above and beyond. But if you're loyal to us, now it's going to be just that much more coming from us.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast with me today.
Like this, I hope it happens. That's just fingers crossed.
Our names are going to be first ones signed on the petition.
Yes. And like I said, if it does get approved, even just one facility, my son gets a spot. That's all I
it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they named it the Walker Parker Center.
They should. They really should. They should have our picture in some kind of plaque.
And it's funny. We realized today, so we're talking about what it could be named and stuff. And I'm like, take a walk with us and park here.
There you go.
Our names are so perfect for all these puns. I cannot even.
Right.
But if they don't name it after us, still just getting this done for teachers, even like you said, one facility to start with, then they can add more coming in, preferably Winter Haven people. It would make a huge difference.
It really will. And I hope other employees agree. And like you said, share with everybody have them sign the petition, put your comments, do the polls.
Take a snapshot of this video, screen record this video, throw it on your TikTok, put the signature, the petition page on there, see what happens. Because the more we get, the more we can go to the district and say, hey, I did a podcast about this idea. Everyone loved it. Here's what they had to say. And maybe we can make some change for everybody.
So. Exactly. Fingers crossed.
And you're welcome on this podcast anytime.
I just love it. I'm like, yes.
She's so funny earlier. She's like, I'm just inviting myself on your podcast. Do you even need an invitation?
I know. I was like, this would be a great podcast.
There's a lot of times that you and I are talking and I'm like, podcast.
Right? Exactly.
Okay, wait, don't talk about it anymore. We need to save our ideas.
Yeah, we could go on forever.
We could. Our next one needs to be talking about how difficult it is to be a teacher and in school at the same time.
Yes.
All right, guys, check out all my socials. Make sure you follow the links in the bio. New merch is up. Have at it, buy away, represent, check out podcasts, download it, and go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you are not already, click the bell notification if you have not done that already, and you'll see new videos and podcasts up every single week. If you have any ideas for podcasts and episodes, let me know. I will be going Target dollar spot shopping, which I'm so excited about, to let you know what good finds there are for teachers. Because, guys, we have to start shopping for the school year. It's coming up. And and I'm going to be doing some DIYs for the classroom. I'm going to get those videos up soon too. So check it out. Thank you so much, Christine. You know you're my bestie, and I love you for the resty.
I love you too. And thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. Bye.